Hey, what's good, YouTube? This is the only Big Green Yu-Gi-Oh again, and I know I haven't uploaded in like a few months. I think it's been 2 months now, and one of the reasons why is I've just been lazy and playing the PlayStation instead of going to locals as much. Cause normally the only time I film videos is like after a locals, and also another thing is my stand broke, so I'm back to holding the phone with one hand again, which sucks. So I apologize if the video's like there's an earthquake going on like that. So just bear that in mind until I can get another stand, cause my videos are always shaky, cause I just have a shaky setup like a table or something, or I'm just having to film with my hand. So I apologize for that. But one of the people at my, well, actually two people at my locals, one of them actually commented down below. I think he's from my locals, the Tyler. I'm pretty sure that's the same guy that I played round one. He commented wanting me to upload this, and then my guy that I faced round two with this deck actually took a picture of my entire deck, and so I'm also just making this video for him. But this is Gren Maju, if you can't tell by this. The deck really hasn't seen a lot of shine ever since the YCS thing. The YCS guy, I forgot his name. My build is similar to his, but it's not exactly like his. There's a few things different with my build. But anyways, let's get right into it. To start off, you of course play the 3 Gren Maju, the best monster in the deck. Without this guy, the deck just really isn't all that playable. His attack is his effect is his attack and defense are equal to the number of your banished cards times 400. And this gets extremely huge. Once you get 20 cards banished, it's at 8,000 attack. So if you can just get like 20, if you can get 20 cards banished, which is extremely easy in this deck, you pretty much can swing for game. And there's a lot of board wipes and back row destruction in this deck, so you don't really have to worry about your opponent's back row that much, because you're most likely going to kill it, summon this guy, and then swing for game. You can also set it to bait an opponent's attack. I've won a few games off of that by just setting him and then attacking into like a 9,000, 10,000 defense monster. So you can also use it on the defensive side as well. Next up, we've got the 3 Eater of Millions. This guy is really good with Gren Maju, how you can banish a number of up to a minimum amount of 5 monsters from your extra deck face down, and his attack and defense is equal to your face down banished cards by 100. And his other effect is once per battle phase, before damage step, you can banish an opponent's monster that's battling with him. So this card is really versatile with getting rid of threats that can cause this to not really go off. And it's also really good at banishing. If you're just a few cards away from having Gren Maju at the OTK attack, you can also just drop him and then summon your Gren Maju, and then Gren Maju will have enough to beat over an attack for game. And then next up, we have the Necroface. Necroface is really good with whenever it's banished, both you and your opponent banish the top 5 cards of your deck face up. And then whenever it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can return all banished cards back into your deck, which is really nice for if you've banished way too much or you're about to deck yourself out. You can summon it and just restart the game pretty much. Or you can use it for the other effect, the banishing effect, as a Lore of Darkness target, which is normally what I do with it. And keep in mind, this card is only at 2 on the ban list for those of you guys that don't know, because I know like about a year ago when this deck first did at YCS, I was going to play 3, and I saw on the ban list that I was at 2, and it's like, well, that kind of does make sense, because you can really pull off some gimmicky things with this card, well, this deck in general. And then next up, we've got the Battle Phase Enders with the 3 Battle Fader. I like it because it's a dark type, and then the 2 Swift Scarecrow. I'm only running 2 Swift Scarecrow. I couldn't really find a spot for the 3rd one. I know the guy at YCS ran 3 of these, but I couldn't really find space in my deck to play 3. And the reason why I'm playing more Battle Fader is simply because it has that dark attribute. And next up, we have the other things, the cool things that the guy ran at YCS. and I decided to play them in my build as well. But you have the Fairy Tale Snow and then the Turtle. The Turtle is a good discard fodder, and so is Snow. And then also a good thing is Snow, if Snow can really help you out in banishing a lot of things in your hand if you have dead cards, or banishing things like the Necrofear from your graveyard if it's in your grave, or not Necrofear, Necroface if it's in your graveyard. But most of the time I just use her for her banishing effect, but there has been a few occasions where somebody was swinging in with a huge amount of damage and I can just book it and then get her in defense and she can just absorb 2 attacks virtually. So she can be used as that as well. And then next up we have the Kaiju emblem. Or not the emblem, what am I saying? The Kaiju engine, not emblem. I have the 1 Gameciel, the 1 Comomungus, and then the 1 Radian. The guy at YCS played 2 Comomungus, and I don't think he was thinking about Radian, but the reason why I play the Radian is it's a dark, so it's a Lure of Darkness target. I'm still debating on if I want to cut this out for a Radian or just leave it as a Comomungus, or I'm thinking about upping it to a Gameciel, but I don't know. I might take this out for another one of those or take this out for another one of those. So I'm not sure yet, but definitely I would recommend this Kaiju over any of the Kaijus just because it's a dark. And on to the spells, the draw engine, the 3 of Lure of Darkness. A Lure of Darkness is virtually Pot of Greed in this deck because you want to banish. So the banish cost of a dark monster is nothing. You want to do that, which is extremely good. I would say this is the best card in the deck spell-wise. It's up there, but it's not the best spell card. You guys that have seen this deck played probably know what the best spell card is in the deck. 3 Gold Sarcophagus. Again, this is just for a target for your Gren Maju or a target for your Necroface. Rarely I'll go for anything that's not them two. Most of the time I'm using this to banish things with Necroface, or I'm using this to try and get my Gren Maju. I guess you could use it for a Kaiju if there's a monster that your opponent has that's hard dealing with, but I wouldn't really waste it on a Kaiju. Next up, if you guys guessed this is the best spell card in the deck in my opinion. Pot of Desires. Again, this is like Pot of Greed in this deck. Just who cares about banishing the top 10 cards? You want to do that because Gren Maju. You want to do that because of Eater of Millions. You want to do that because of Necroface. All of these cards gain attack off of banished. So you want a lot of your cards banished, which is extremely... I never thought that this card would be as absolutely broken in this deck as any other thing would be. Duality. I play 3 of these. I thought about cutting it down to 2, but I like it at 3. The reason why I thought about cutting it down to 2 is every time I play this deck, normally when I activate it, I reveal something like an Eater of Millions, and I can go off for game right then and there. But again, like, still, the fact that you want to open up this card or this card every game, and this card allows you to get to this card faster, I kind of have to play 3. And then to finish up the draw engine, the 1 Day of Peace. It's pretty much another in the battle phase card, but it allows you to draw, which is nice. And then next up, I play 2 DDR. Most of the other builds I've seen, even the YCS build, played 3. I think 3 is way too many. I rarely even activate this card anyways. Most of the time it's dead. And the only time that I can activate it, I already have game established. But still, it's a must run, at least at 1, in my opinion. Its effect is pretty much a monster reborn from your banish zone, but you have to discard a card for cost. Which, again, I mean... a lot of these cards you either want in the grave or banish to begin with, so discarding or banishing doesn't really hurt this deck at all. And then Foolish Burial to get your Snow into the grave, or to get a Gren Maju in the grave if you main deck a Monster Reborn. I side deck my Monster Reborn. Or if you're wanting to just get the Turtle in the grave or something like that. And then again, you can just use it for deck thinning purposes as well. Next up, the 3 Twin Twister. I believe the YCS deck that the guy played these in the sideboard, but I like to mainboard these things. These things are extremely good, because a lot of times when I open up a Twin Twister, a Desires, and then a Maju, at that point I just win the game if I open that up, unless my opponent's playing something like the meta. But if my opponent's just playing another rogue deck like I am, then a lot of times I'll just straight up win if I have this card in my hand. And then the final spell cards in the deck, the board wipers. 1 Dark Hole, 1 Raigeki. The guy at YCS also cited these. I mainboard these because I like to just have game instantly, and these normally do that. And then the last spell card in the deck, a little tech card of mine, Lightning Vortex. Again, I like discarding cards. I could care less if something's in the graveyard or if something's banished, so this doesn't really help me, and there's really not a lot of decks that set anymore. But this game has turned away from the set, or this game has turned away from the I'm going to T-set and pass. It's more of just a straight I'm going to beat your face in now, so I think this is a cool card. You don't really have to play it, though. I don't think I've ever seen another deck list with this card in it. But again, I just like it. It's a cool tech of mine. And then next up, we have the side deck, which I don't really have a side deck built for this deck. And when I played it at my locals, I didn't have half of it is just undecided yet. But the stuff that I have decided is pretty much just the rest of the Kaijus, the Monster Reborn, and the Kaiju Slumber for another board wipe. And then a Balance of Judgment because sometimes you have nothing in your hand and nothing on board. So this can go for like a +6 or a +7 in some cases. The rest of these is probably just going to be like Floodgates or more board wipes like that. Like this is probably going to be another Swift Scarecrow. I've thought about running some of the Time Lords, like the Time Lord that halves the opponent's life points. Run maybe 2 of those. And I've thought about running the, what's it called? The Lava Golem that I play in Chainburn. Thought about playing Lava Golem in here and stuff like that. But the stuff that I have decided is this. Another thing is like, I believe it's called Soul Absorption. Whenever a card's banished, you gain 500 life points. That thing there, I've thought about siding those, but I'm not for sure yet. And then the extra deck, the extra deck doesn't really have to be anything special. I just run like random 15 cards. I pretty much play my Paleo deck. I just run the extra deck for my Paleo just for the funsies of it. But really, if you want to play with an actual like good extra deck, I mean, I guess one thing that you could play would be like a Utopia the Lightning for like your level 4 plays and swinging in for game with Utopia. Well, I guess like some level 3, or not level 3, but rank 3s if you want to do that. But other than that, I can't really think of anything that you could put in the extra deck. But if you guys can think of anything that would go good in the extra deck that's not just a bunch of random garbage, you guys can type that in the comments. But anyways, I'm glad that I finally uploaded a video in a year. Because normally I upload a bunch of videos and then I go quiet like I'm dead. And then I'll just randomly upload a video kind of like this one. But yeah, once I get another stand and I don't have to hold it and have this all day long, I'll be good and start uploading a lot more videos because I have a lot of older formats that I want to upload, like my Yada Lock and stuff like that. So definitely stay tuned for that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And thank you guys. My subscriber count has been going up tremendously here lately. Like the last time I uploaded a video, I was only like 30 subs or 40 subs. And now I'm at like 63, 64 subs, I think, or something like that. So I thank you guys. My original goal was to get to 10 subs, which is funny. And I hit that in about like 2 months time. And now my next goal is to get to 100 subs. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be up there at the 1,000 club, and I might become a big Yu-Gi tuber one day, but I just do this channel for fun. I don't really do this channel for profit or anything, but thank you guys that are subbed and watch my channels daily. I really do like you guys and love you guys for doing that. Anyways, this has been the Only Big Green Yu-Gi-Oh! Or my real name, Johnny, and I'm signing out. You guys have a good day.